Hello, and welcome to The Space Between. My name's John Yerby, and today we're going to be talking about a little piece called Quasars. The main feature of this piece is a reverse drag technique using one finger in the right hand. We're going to be dragging backwards across the strings, as opposed to forwards, which we're more used to. I like to drag with A. Now that's just me. You can drag with M, with I. Really, it's up to you. You just got to kind of figure out what works for you, what sounds the best. For me, my I finger, just the way it's shaped, it's a little bit brighter. The A finger really gives me that sweet spot, which is what I'm after. So we're just going to go through it kind of line by line and talk about some practice techniques. All right, let's get started. First of all, we have syncopation. The second note of the piece comes on the and of beat 2. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay. Also, there we have a slur from the open A to the B. And, oftentimes slurs are overlooked as far as technique goes. We're like, oh, you just throw your finger at the string and there you have it. You got a slur. We can rush slurs. We can be inaccurate with slurs. And we really want to make them as clean as possible to get the desired effect. So what I like to do is have my finger hovering about half an inch above the string, maybe a little less. A good quality slur is more about the speed of your finger, not the weight. We're not trying to muscle the string here. It's not about strength, it's about speed. As such, you can get very soft and delicate slurs. Okay, or you can get more energetic ones. Here's the first bar. I'll count along with you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, once again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Bar 2. Okay, we've got to depress the F sharp on the first string with the third finger, leaving the second finger free to play the B in the bass, which is part of our rolled chord, okay? Now, I think the crux of this piece is the drag technique. You've got to really practice that to make sure you can feel comfortable dragging across the strings and then getting back in position to come back with your thumb to start the main theme again, starting on the E string. We don't want to drag by just curling our finger towards our palm like that. That's going to change the angle of the fingernail across each string, giving us a different timbre, okay? I mean, it's not a huge noticeable difference, but we want to try to keep that angle the same consistently as we drag backwards. So the way we do that is by combining the movement with the forearm moving back and the finger as well, okay? Ideally, we want our hand to move as little as possible, so we can stay in position or as close to position as we can. Okay, second thing about the measure with the drag. And this happens, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in this piece, which has 18 measures. So that's a significant portion of this piece. We want to make sure we get this technique down. Moving on now, measure 5, we've got just a nice, open, airy C major 7 chord, all right? Beautiful. Just let all the notes ring out. All you're doing is holding down the bass note C right here. P, I, M, I, A. And if, we're talking about arpeggio here, so in order to practice this one, plant I and M together on strings 3 and 2. Okay? Planting is very important when playing arpeggio, so you want those fingers when you're practicing to come down together. That way they'll both be on their strings and ready to play the notes. Finally, you want to prepare the A finger on the top string E. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're back to our main theme. So here's measure 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, great. In measure 5, we have just a couple of dyads, okay? A C dominant 7, moving to an F major, and then finally B dominant, okay? In measure 9, we're going to use what we call a guide finger, okay? The finger slides on the same string on the 3rd string, 4th finger, 3rd fret, going to slide down from B flat to the A, okay? Guide fingers are something you always want to use when it's possible when playing guitar, okay? It makes shifting and movement around the fretboard much more secure. Okay, we've got half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice the rest at the end of bar 2. For example, if you were playing this piece, this is part of the RCM exam, as I understand. If you were playing this for an exam or a class guitar test, something like that, something where you're going to be wanting to observe all the rests and indications in the score as accurately as possible, in measure 10, you're going to want to make sure you mute the strings on that beat 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. How do we mute strings? You got 2 choices, right hand or left hand. 2, 3. Since we have no open strings in this chord, the easiest way to stop those strings from ringing is just to lift your fingers away. Not entirely off the string, but just remove the tension from the string so those strings stop ringing. You've got the rest, okay? And then in measure 11 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We've got the same notes, just now in quarter notes, so be sure to alternate I and M on the top note. I am, I am, I am, I. That brings us to measure 13, which is same as the first. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. We're almost to the end, folks. Okay, 2 more bars to go. We have a closing arpeggio now. We're going to start with 2nd finger on B. Now it's mostly open strings here, so we're going to focus on the right hand, okay? So your thumb plays the bass note. You've got P, I, M, and then you reposition your thumb to the 5th string to play again, okay? So P, I, M, P, I, M, A, I, M, A. Excuse me. A great way to practice a arpeggio passage like this, where your fingers have to change strings, is to do it without the left hand. Now, what I did there was I pretended like I was playing the notes with my left hand. Obviously, I wasn't. What that allows you to do when you're practicing is to really place all your focus to the right hand. Okay, now I think that the effect of this piece is creating space, letting these chords breathe, okay? And that's Quasars by Michael Coghlan. Tune in next time to find more ways to discover the space between.